is the purpose behind terror funding in the state of J&K? Terrorism requires a lot of funding. The funding is required for the following reasons. You require funding to buy weapons, arms, ammunition. You require funding to recruit various recruits because the recruits have to be paid. You require funding to pay to the instructors who give training to the potential terrorist. You require money or funds to carry out training on various weapons, training in technology, training in various tactics, etc., crossing, border fencing, etc. You require money to ensure that when terrorists are injured, to give them a medical aid. When terrorists get captured, then you have to defend their cases in the various courts of Jammu and Kashmir. You also require money to give it to the families of the terrorists who get killed by the security forces. So therefore, to run terrorist activities in Jammu and Kashmir, you require a lot of money for buying weapons equipment, for training, for carrying out logistic activities, for giving medical support, for carrying out legal requirements when caught by various security agencies, and also you require money for rewarding it to the terrorists who do a big terror act. You require money for carrying out propaganda warfare. So terrorism to sustain itself in J&K requires a lot of money. This is what various organizations try and do to sustain terrorism in the state of J&K. The next question that comes to your mind is, how does the network of terror funding work in the state of Jammu and Kashmir? How does the terror network work in the state of Jammu and Kashmir? This terror network works in various manners. Firstly, the funding for terror organizations comes from international area such as Pakistan and China. They get money from some Muslim countries like Iran, Syria, Libya, Saudi Arabia, etc. They get money from various non-governmental organizations which fund them. They get money by carrying out smuggling activities in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. They get money by carrying out jobs such as training and other things for other terrorist organizations. They get also money by selling weapons, arms, ammunition to the other terror organizations. So there are many ways by which the funding is done. They also get money from certain mosques. They also get money from certain radicalized people, also called as overground workers. And the way they get money is by various methods. The money is given to them physically, or it is carried out by hawala system, or at times use of technology is made to transfer money from one organization to another. Also at times cryptocurrencies and other money methods of transfer is used. At times money laundering is also done. Most of the terror organizations are based, carry out a fair amount of smuggling of narcotics, etc. So therefore they generate money. So there are various methods by which terror organizations can generate money. The next question that comes to the mind is, how should the security forces and the government crush terror funding network in the state of J&K? Now, combating terror funding is a multifaceted challenge and requires a coordinated effort from not only security forces but also intelligence agencies and government, state as well as central government. Now, some of the important actions that the government of J&K or the government of India can take is, one is international cooperation, in which we should ensure that countries all over the world do not supply money for the terrorist activities, and there are laws which stop countries from funding terror organizations in other countries. Also, you have what is called as the FATA, Financial Action Task Force of the United Nations, which keeps a tag of countries which support terrorists with money. Then we also have what is called as our financial intelligence units, which keep a tag of money, transactions that take place, and ensure that wrong activities do not take place. We have a lot of laws on money laundering for stopping hawala, etc. A lot of organizations which are involved in these kinds of jobs, they are regularly raided by the national investigation agencies. Their assets are frozen, their money is seized, and all their activities are tried to be stopped. Then there are certain charitable organizations who show that they are charitable organizations, but actually misuse the money by giving it to terrorists. A tag is kept on that. We also have to ensure that the border security is of a very high order. Lot of times infiltrating terrorist groups also get money physically for handing it over to the batch which is already gone or batch which is going to come up. We also have to ensure that cyber security is of a very high order so that messages cannot be passed between various terrorist organizations. We also have to educate our financial institutions like the banks, etc., to tell them as to how misuse of the banking system is done by the terror organizations. And most important is that we have to create public awareness that nobody should support any kind of a terror activity, because ultimately it creates a problem for the country itself. The last question that comes to the mind is, what steps should be taken by the security forces, the army and the government to crush overall terrorism in the state of J&K. Crushing terrorism will require a multifaceted effort. First and most important is intelligence gathering. We have to ensure that we get actionable intelligence by which we come to know which terrorist group is going to infiltrate from which part of the line of control. We also have to ensure that our counter-infiltration grid, which is on the border, on the LOC, is of a very high order, so that most of the terror activities are stopped on the border itself, and most of the terrorists are killed on the border itself. In fact, Indian Army has achieved tremendous amount of success in this activity, in which 95% of terrorists get killed on the border itself, and barely 5% are able to infiltrate inside. The counter-infiltration grid has to be kept strong at all times. The second issue is that we should ensure that 5% of terrorists which infiltrate into in the state of J&K, they are eliminated by carrying out what is called as actionable based on actionable intelligence. We carry out intelligence-based operation, which is done very regularly. In fact, it is now said that there are barely 150 terrorists which are operating in Jammu and Kashmir Valley as well as in the area of Poonch and Rajouri. The next issue that we have to do is there has to be a good cooperation between various security agencies like the CRPF, the J&K police and the Indian Army. Then we also have to ensure that no fresh youth from the state of J&K go for training for joining the terrorist rank. This is working very well, and it is said that this year barely 10-15 youth have from the state of J&K have gone out for training. We have to also ensure that the law enforcement agency and the legal measures are of a very high order. Any terrorist who is caught, his case should be finished off as early as possible, and he is punished under the laws of the land. We also have to ensure that the financial support to the terrorist organization is stopped so that they fall short of money. Then there are specialist organizations like the Rashtriya Rifles and other things which keep on carrying out operations regularly. We also have to carry out offensive cyber operations. We also have to ensure that human rights are not violated. We also have to ensure that terrorism is focused on at a world level by all the countries, and every country realizes that terrorism is a big threat as far as they are concerned. And we finally have to ensure that countries like Pakistan and China, which keep on helping the terrorist organizations, they are also brought to book, and their support to the various terrorist acts is shown to the whole world so that they feel shy in supporting terror organizations. So basically, you require a multifaceted, multi-domain approach to stop terrorism in the state of J&K. Thank you. Jai Hind.